everyone, it's Gina from Opal.com. I am back today with another tutorial using the beads from the Gina's Picks for September 2021 that I did in collaboration with Eureka Crystal Beads. I'll leave that video in the corner if you haven't already seen it, but if you have, this is another tutorial that I promised a little over a week ago. This one is for this necklace using the two-hole shapes like the Vexolo, the WibeDuo, Ginko beads, also some 15-0 and 11-0 seed beads, all put together in a new way and added to some chain to turn this into a necklace. All of these components are made separately though, so you can turn these into other things, such as a coordinating bracelet or earrings, or even just use this single piece as a pendant. I'll leave everything right down below the video in the description section linked and listed as far as what I'm using today and also how much you'll need. And I'll leave a coupon code down below if I have one also. Today I'll be using a size 11 beading needle and some 6-pound FireLine, and you can go ahead and string your beading needle with a comfortable length of beading thread. Pull together your materials, and we're going to get started making these components that are off to the side, and then finish up by making the center component and putting everything together. So go ahead and gather everything up that you need and we can jump into this tutorial. Alright, so we're going to start out by making our smaller two components that go on either side of the larger center component. We're going to make these one at a time and then link them together. And then when you see the two done and linked together, you'll also be able to do the two that will go on the other side just by backing up the video and doing the same thing. But we're going to start out with one of our WibeDuos and one of our Vexolos. To start out, if you want to add a stop bead, you can definitely do that. I'm just going to dive right in here by going up through the right-hand side of the WibeDuo with that more rounded, domed shape on the top. And I'm also going to go through the narrow portion or the left-hand side of the Vexolo. And keep in mind, I have the flat part of the Vexolo at the bottom and this beveled top is facing up. So go up through those two beads and pull them down. Leave yourself a little 5-inch tail that you can weave back in later. And then you want to pick up 3 11-0s and now return down through the open hole of the Vexolo on the wider end, and then go back down through the same hole of the WibeDuo that you had already gone through. And hold this with your thumb and your forefinger and pull it down. And the Vexolo may want to twist around on you, but just make sure that you position it like this. And you can see I have my tail thread and my working thread currently coming out of the right-hand side of the WibeDuo. Next, what we're going to do is take another Vexolo. It's going to be sitting sort of like this. So I want to take my needle and I want to go down through that wider end, just like that. And you can just gently push that up towards your work. It's going to be sitting sort of like that. We want to then pick up 3 of our 11-0s. Then we want to go through the smaller, thinner end of the Vexolo. And then back up through the WibeDuo through the right-hand side. And if you want, you can continue on through the skinny end of the next Vexolo. But we pull this and you just have to shift it around a little bit. It'll sit like that in place. You'll also be going through those next 3 11-0s at the top of that first Vexolo that you added. And now you're going to go down through the wider portion of the Vexolo. Pull all this together as you go. Take a moment, make sure it's positioned correctly, and it'll come together and tighten up as you go as well. But now we're coming out of the wider end of the Vexolo right there at the bottom. What we want to do now is pick up an 11-0 and then go directly through the next 3 11-0 seed beads that are over top of that next Vexolo. Pull. Now you can see we have a group of 4 11-0s right here. And then we want to go down through the wider end of that Vexolo. Pull. So with my working thread coming down out of the wider end of that Vexolo, I'm going to put this down. And we're then going to pick up another 11-0, and we're going to want another Vexolo. This time we're going to go down through the narrow end. Pull that towards your work. And then go through the open hole of the WibeDuo, the one you haven't gone through yet. Hold that with your thumb and your forefinger and pull. Make sure that Vexolo doesn't get twisted. You can see as you pull, it's going to start to sit just like that new one you just added. Now that you're coming out of the other hole, that WibeDuo, you can then take your final and fourth Vexolo and go down through the wider end. Pull that towards your work. Then pick up 3 11-0s and then go through the narrow end of that same Vexolo that you just added. Hold those together while you pull. You can see this is starting to form the shape that you want, just like that. And with my needle coming out of the narrow end of this Vexolo, I'm going to go up through the WibeDuo, the hole that is right there near where I'm coming out. And then I'm going to proceed up through the narrow end of the Vexolo right above that. And you can see we need to add our seed beads above that Vexolo, just like we have all around the other one. So let's pick up 3 11-0s, go down through the wider end of the Vexolo, hold with your thumb and your forefinger and pull. And then we're going to be adding an extra seed bead in those sections where we don't have the extra one. You see these have 4, there's 4 here, but these two just have 3. So coming out of the bottom of that Vexolo, let's pick up another 11-0 and go through the next 3 11-0s right there. Pull and turn. Then let's go down through the hole there at the wide end of that Vexolo where we're coming out. And let's pick up another 11-0 and go through the next 3 seed beads. There we go. Pull and turn. And now you can see we've got a piece that is symmetrical. We've got 4 seed beads wrapped all the way around, just like that. And we're ready to add some of our 15-0 seed beads around these sections. So when you're coming out of those 4 11-0s right there, whichever 4 you're coming out of, we want to pick up 7 15-0s. And then skip over the first 11-0 that you get to and just go through those final 3. So go around the Vexolo, skip the 11-0, go through the next 3 11-0s. Pull. And there's our 7 15-0s in place. Let's do that all the way around. Let's pick up now 7 more 15-0s. And let's turn. Skip that first 11-0 and go through the next 3. Pull. And do it again. We need 7 more. We'll go through those 3. hold that and pull, and do our last 7. And then we'll go through the 3 11-0s that we normally would. And then go through the next 2 15-0s as well. And then when you get to that corner, you're going to pick up 3 15-0s, then go down the next 5. Just kind of sharpens those corners a little bit more. Skip that next 11-0 like you did before, go through the next 3, as well as the next 2 15-0s, turn, pick up 3 15-0s, and go through the next 5, as well as the next 3 11-0s and the next 2 15-0s, and repeat. Pick up 3 15-0s, go through the 5 15-0s, the 3 11-0s, and then through the 2 15-0s. Just like that. So you have those sharper corners now, as you can see on those 3 edges. And then at this point, we're going to do our 3 15-0s, go down through the next 5 15-0s through the 3 11-0s. Then we're going to go through the next 4 15-0s, which brings us to the peak of that section. And we're going to pick up 1 11-0, 1 15-0, and 1 11-0. And this is going to be our little connector for our next one that we make. And we're going to go back around through that 15-0 on the corner. You see it made a little picot right there. I'm just going to go around that one more time. Just to secure it a little bit better. Back through that 15-0 there. And then I'm going to go back down through these seed beads. Tie a 1/2 hitch knot. Go through a few more beads. Another 1/2 hitch knot. I'm going to skip that 4th bead on the corner just to keep that popping out a little bit more as I pull. And I'll make one more 1/2 hitch knot right there where I'm coming out. And I am just securing my thread so that I can clip this off. And we can make another one of these shapes that we can attach to this. And going through the next bead, and then I'll trim this off. And then I'm going to attach a needle to this tail thread and do the same thing where I weave that back in just to get it out of the way. Then we're going to make another one of these that will attach to this. All right, so now what I need you to do is make another one of these. You can back up the video and do the exact same thing, picot and all, and I'm going to show you how we're going to connect those two, as well as add a wire guard to the top, which will later attach to our chain. And you can see already that you could make several of these connected as a bracelet. You could use this as a single earring or some other type of beaded component now that you know how to make this. So there's a lot of possibilities just from here, but go ahead and make a whole nother one of these and then we'll meet back. All right, and welcome back. So I'm at the point where I have another one of these made and I still have some remaining thread. I have it coming up out of the 11-0 on the side of this picot right here. And we can just go ahead and add our wire guard onto the top of this. And to do that, you can just pick up an 11-0, go up through the right-hand side of the wire guard if you're coming out in that same area, and then return down through the wire guard. Make sure the thread sits in the groove. Pick up another 11-0 and then go down through the 11-0 that's on the left. So you have something like that. And then just return through this again to reinforce it. So I'm going to go through the 15-0 there at the bottom, pull. Now go up through the two 11-0s and go around the wire guard again. Return back down through the other side of the wire guard and through the two 11-0s. So we've got that reinforced again. If you're able to go through that 15-0 there at the bottom again, you can go through that. And then what we want to do is head down our piece. I'm just following the thread path through all of these 15-0s and 11-0s around the side. Go through the third one there. I'm going to skip the fourth 11-0 just to keep that popping out. And continue on through the 11-0s right there, through the next three 15-0s. And I want to come out of the fourth 15-0 right there at the bottom. Now what we're going to do is connect these two pieces together just like this. And we just need to pick up an 11-0 first and then go up through that cornermost 15-0, that fourth one there on the other side. And when we pull this, it'll start to join these two together. We can pick up another 11-0 and then go back through the 15-0 on the other side. And we're just looping these together just like that. Now go through these at least 2 more times to reinforce. So go through the 11-0 again, then over through the corner 15-0, turning this up through the 11-0. Just go round and round through those beads so that they are reinforced at that section and hold together really sturdy. And they also don't have any big gaps or anything in between the two components. I go around again. I'm still able to get through that 15-0 reasonably. Down the 11-0. There we go. And as you pull tight, you can see that this is what you have, which is going to be the first side of the beaded portion of your necklace on one side of the larger beadwork that we're going to complete. And now I'm just going to go ahead and continue on through a few more of these seed beads and knot off this piece of thread so that we can get started on that larger center portion on a separate piece of thread. And what you can do is go ahead and make another one of these whole components, just like we did before. Again, if you need to back up the video to make this double component again, you can, because we're going to use one on the other side also. And now I can clip that thread off. And at this point, you can either make your second one just like this, and when you're ready, gather up 6 more Vexolos, WibeDuos, and also 6 Ginko beads, and we'll also continue to use our 2 different seed beads. And I'll show you how to complete the center of your necklace. Alright, to make the center component, I am going to start by using a stop bead, something I don't normally do, but for this it definitely will come in handy. So I'm just taking a random larger bead that won't get in the way, going to string it down to about 5 inches, leaving that tail thread there, and then I'm going to sew back up through it. And that's just going to hold some of our beads in place while we put this center portion together. First, what we want to do is take one of our Ginko beads and we're going to go down the left side with that point facing up. And we're going to pull this down towards our stop bead. And then we're going to take 3 15-ohs, pick those up, and have those wrapping around the bottom of the Ginko, the round part. And we're going to go up through the right-hand side. Pull. So you should have something that looks like this so far. Then we're going to pick up one of our 11-oh seed beads, and we're going to pick up one of our WibeDuo beads. Now when you pick up the WibeDuo, you want to be going up through the hole that is on the left side. You can see the pillow-like shape of this bead, so the part that kind of has that more rounded top, that's going to sit on the front, of course. So we're going to go up through the left-hand side of that hole and string this down. And then we're going to wrap 5 15-ohs around the top of that. So pick up 5 15-ohs and then go down through that open hole on the right of the same WibeDuo. And this will all come together as we go. So if it's a little bit loose right now, it's okay. Next, we want to pick up a Vexolo, which is going to sit like this against our WibeDuo. And we want to be going through the narrow portion of that. I want to take our needle and go down through that narrow portion. Go down through that narrow hole. Pull. And that's going to be sitting just like that. Then we're going to pick up another Ginko bead. And again, we're going to start out by going down through the left-hand side of the Ginko, going toward the rounded end. And it's going to sit just like that. And we're going to keep repeating what we did. So again, we're going to pick up 3 15-ohs. We're going to go up through the open hole of the Ginko on the right. And pull. And the Vexolo will move around for now. It's okay. It'll sit into place once we get it all sewn together. And to keep repeating what we did, we need another 11-oh. We need to go up through the left-hand side of another WibeDuo and pull those down. We're going to wrap 5 15-ohs around the WibeDuo. And go down through the open hole of that on the right. Take a moment, get your beads situated. That Vexolo will want to flip on you. The Ginkos are going to end up sitting in the center. Alright, so after coming down through the right-hand side of the WibeDuo, now we're ready again for another Vexolo, which is going to sit like that. So we're going to go down through the hole on the narrow end. Pull. And repeat. Now we're ready for our next Ginko, going down through the hole on the left. We'll pick up our 3 15-ohs. We'll go up through the right-hand side of the Ginko. Now we'll pick up our 11-oh. We'll go up the right-hand side of our WibeDuo. We'll grab our 5 15-ohs. and go down the other side of the WibeDuo. And we're going to end up with 6 each of these 2-hole beads, so keep repeating. Now our Vexolo going down through the narrow end. Make sure you have that peak that's at the top. Now our next Ginko. Picking up 3 15-ohs. And up through the Ginko. Sliding those together. 11-oh. WibeDuo, and I can just go ahead and pick up 5 15-ohs while I'm at it. Down through the WibeDuo. Down through the Vexolo. Next Ginko, and I'll just pick up 3 15-ohs. And I'll just go ahead and swing up through the right-hand side of the Ginko while I'm at it. Pull that together. We're getting there. You can see how this is starting to want to form this round shape. That's exactly what we want, especially as we pull these together a little bit tighter. 11-oh. WibeDuo. 5 15-ohs. Down through the WibeDuo. Vexolo. And we're down to our last 3 2-hole shapes. Next we need the Ginko, the 3 15-ohs, go up through the Ginko, pull, then our 11-oh, our WibeDuo, 5 15-ohs, give that a little turn, down through the WibeDuo, pull, and then we're ready for our last Vexolo, going down through the narrow part of that once again. And pulling that towards our work. And this is going to all come together now into a loop, and we can get rid of that stop bead in just a moment, but let's just continue on and pulling that down a tiny bit. I didn't knot this on, I just looped it on there. Now what I want to do is take my needle and go down through that first hole that we get to on the Ginko bead that we added first. So coming out of the narrow end of the Vexolo, and I'm just going down through that very first hole that we get to of the Ginko that's sitting right next to our stop bead. And you can see when we pull that, it's starting to bring this all together. And now what we want to do is go through the next 3 15-ohs right at the bottom of that same Ginko that we're coming out of. So I'm just going to pick this up so it's easier for me to handle. I'm going to head over through those next 3 15-ohs. Pull. And then turn just a little bit. Take your time with this part. Keep in mind all the Ginkgos are going to be in the center, and all of those little clusters of 3 seed beads are going to be in the center as well. And that's what we want to go through right now, is all of those little clusters of 3 seed beads right in the center. We're going to form these into a loop. So continue on to the next Ginko and go through the next 3 15-0s that are below that. It's going to pull this all together. Then go through the next 3 15-0s at the bottom of the next Ginko. Turn a little bit. Go through the next 3 seed beads, the bottom of the next Ginko, and continue all the way around. Next 3. Go through the next 3. And now you can see we're at the beginning again. I'm going to continue on through those first 3 15-0s one more time. There we go. And at this point, I am going to slide the stop bead off and get it out of the way. And I'm going to put a needle on my tail thread and weave this tail thread back in to get that out of the way as well. So with the needle on my tail thread coming out right here in between the Ginko and the Vexolo, I'm just going to put my finger there to hold that working thread in place. Going to go under the thread bridge in between the Ginko and the Vexolo to make a loop, and then just make a little half-inch knot right there to secure that tail thread. And then I'm going to go through a few more beads following the thread path that we took before. Go through a few more beads like that. We'll go down the WibeDuo. Make one more little knot right there. Then through the 11-0 and come out through the Ginko, and I'm just going to trim that thread off, and that way it'll be out of the way for the tutorial. Alright, so returning back with our working thread, currently mine is coming out of the cluster of 3 15-0s right there. We're going to come back to this center section, but we're left with some 15-0s and 11-0s, and we are going to add in some more seed beads around the outer portion. So if you're coming out of the 3 seed bead section, go up through the right hand side of your Ginko and pull. Then go up through the 11-0 and up through the left hand side of your WibeDuo. Continue on going through the 5 15-0 seed beads that are around your WibeDuo. And once you're coming out of those, you'll pick up 3 more 15-0s and then go through the open hole of your Vexolo through that wider portion. Then, when you're coming out of the Vexolo, pick up 3 11-0s and then go straight into that next group of 5 15-0s over the next WibeDuo. And pull these together as you go. Once you've gone through the 5 15-0s, you're going to pick up 3 more 15-0s and go through the wide end of the Vexolo. Coming out of the Vexolo, you'll pick up your 3 more 11-0s and then continue on through that group of 5 15-0s. So keep repeating this all the way around. You can see this is how it's looking so far. We need 3 15-0s through the open hole of the Vexolo and 3 11-0s. And then through the cluster of 5 15-0s again. And I've got my last 3 11-0s, and I'm going to continue through those same 15-0s that I would be going through before. And I'm going to continue on through the next 3 15-0s and the Vexolo. Then I'm going to head through the first 11-0 that I get to. And then I'm going to pick up one more 11-0. And I'm going to go down through the 11-0 that's right there on top of the right-hand side of the Ginko. I'm going to go down through the Ginko as well. So you can see we popped that extra 11-0 into place. Then I'm going to pick up an 11-0, and I'm going to go up through the next Ginko, up through the left side. Then I'm going to go up through the narrow hole of the Vexolo, right on top of that. Back down through the same Vexolo, through the wider portion. Then through the first 11-0 that I get to. And then I'm going to pick up another 11-0, go down through the 11-0 on the right-hand side of that next Ginko. And then head down there and pull. And then I will pick up another 11-0 and repeat. Go up through the left-hand side of the next Ginko, up through the Vexolo, return down through the next hole of the Vexolo and the first 11-0 that you get to. Pick up an 11-0 and then go down through the next 11-0 and Ginko. You can see how that's looking, and we will continue with our next 11-0 up through the Ginko, up through the Vexolo, back down through the first seed bead, picking up another 11-0, and down through the 11-0 and down through the right-hand side of the Ginko. And keep going until you've done that all the way around. And now I'm at the point where I'm just adding in a last 11-0 right there in between the two Ginkgos. Just like that. And then I'm going to continue on by going up through the Vexolo, down through the same Vexolo, through the next 11-0. And what I want to do is I want to be coming out of the third 15-0 over one of these WibeDuos. So I'm going to continue on through these seed beads, through the next two 11-0s, and continue until I'm coming out of the third 15-0 over top of that WibeDuo, which is where we are going to attach our beadwork to the smaller segments that we made. All right, and welcome back. So we are nearly done with our necklace. We just need to finish putting this all together. I've currently got some working thread left on this piece, and I'm coming out of the third 15-0 right there. And I like to connect these two smaller components kind of like this and create that V shape for our necklace. So what I'm going to do, coming out of the third 15-0, I'll pick up another 11-0, and then I'm going to go through this 15-0 that's right on the end there to connect this to this side. And I'm going to pick up another 11-0 to go on the other side. And I'll go back through these three 15-0s right here. So there you can see our connection point, and now I'm going to reinforce that again by going up through the 11-0, then through the 15-0 again, down through the 11-0, and I'll go through these three 15-0s again. And then you'll do the same thing to connect this component to the other side. So if you have extra thread from this point, you can just weave your way around, follow your thread path over here, and then attach it with that, or you can use a new piece of thread, whatever you prefer. All right, and actually once the other side is attached, when I'm coming out of the side that I'm ready to attach the final component to, I'm coming out of these two 15-0s right here. I'm actually going to attach this to these three seed beads right here to make it a little bit more symmetrical. So I'm ready to pick up an 11-0. Then I'm going to go through that end 15-0 right there. Pick up my other 11-0. Then I'm going to go through these three 15-0s right there and connect it at that point. It's a little bit different from the other side, but this will help it to be more symmetrical. Then I'll just reinforce this section by going around again, and then tie a knot off this thread, and then we'll meet back to attach this to our chain and our findings. All right, I've got about 6.5 inches of chain on either side that I'm doing, coming out to be about an 18-inch necklace with the clasp and everything. Got a smaller jump ring here, like a 4mm, or you can use the chain to directly add that on to the wire guard. I'm gonna close this up. And on this side, I'll add a larger jump ring, and I might add some extender chain or just a longer piece of this chain to that a little bit later. So here's our necklace all said and done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it was easy for you to follow. Don't forget you can find everything you need right down below in the description section as far as the list of materials and how much you'll need, and links directly to those items from Eureka Crystal Beads. Have fun exploring different color options if you want to. Eureka Crystal Beads has all sorts of different colors in all of these beads. And don't forget you can use each of these components in different ways and put them together differently to make coordinating pieces to go with your necklace. Huge thank you to you all for being with me. I'd love to see you again, so if you haven't already, definitely hit that subscribe button. Also, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the big thumbs up and leave a comment down below. I always love to hear from you. That's all I have for now. Until next time, I will see you again real soon. And as always, happy beading.